happier that you're here. I am so thrilled. Thank you, Simone, so much for.
Oh, thank you.
I can't even breathe. I'm so excited.
Oh my God.
Your song. I mean, your Superstar, your song is such an anthem. I mean, for so many of my friends, I'm sure that people say this to you all the time.
Yes.
And the other thing that I'm so excited about too is that I created a little Spotify list on how to write your own LinkedIn profile, and Superstar was the first song on the list because it is such a powerful song, and it's all about what we're going to talk about. I can't even breathe. I'm so excited.
Please breathe.
It's all about, your messaging, about empowerment. And so I am so thrilled. So people probably have no need for an introduction about who you are, Simone Denny, but I'm going to go ahead and toot your horn and say how amazing you are. So again, we are going to talk about how to be a superstar with the award-winning and gorgeous singer Simone Denny.
Thank you.
And so your Broken Bones reached #1 on the dance charts, and you won a Juno and Too Much Music Awards for Broken Bones. Your Superstar, of course, is who doesn't know that song? Became a #1 dance song in Canada, Australia, and Spain. You earned a SOCAN Music Songwriters Award for co-writing the song Who Do You Love?
Yeah.
And the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy song, All Things Just Keep Getting Better, reached #5 on the Billboard's Hot Dance Club playlisting and #7 on Billboard's Hot Dance Airplay chart, and earned you another Juno Award. Excuse me. Thank you very much. You just interviewed the amazing Carson Kressley on your show.
We did, yes.
Was it last week? Or was it
last week? Yeah, it was last week.
It was so good. I actually asked a few questions and he answered. And
he is wonderful. And we had Jay Rodriguez as well a few weeks prior to that as well. So we had both of them on, which was amazing.
Gosh. Yeah. And you're a Scarborough girl, and I'm a Scarborough girl, right?
Yes.
So many amazing Scarborough people too.
That's right.
So many.
You know what? You say that, and a lot of celebrities, athletes, a lot of people on media, they all come out of Scarborough. So we've got some pretty stars. It's a star-studded, borough.
100%. And I think there must have been something in the water because I don't know, right? Because when you said Jay Rodriguez, my brain went to Jay Manuel, who was in.
Yeah, he's from Toronto. Yeah.
He's from Scarborough. Yeah.
There you go. That's crazy.
He went
See what I mean?
I know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So crazy. So you've appeared in numerous events, obviously, with that gorgeous voice of yours, to support the AIDS Committee of Toronto, CanFAR, and the Doctors Without Borders.
Yes.
And during Fashion Cares 2004, you experienced a thrill of a lifetime where you performed Lady Marmalade with Patti LaBelle and Jocelyn Brown.
That's right.
That must have been. How was that? How was that to perform with Patti LaBelle?
That was a thrill of a lifetime because for me, that was coming full circle. And actually the same with Jocelyn Brown, because they both impacted my life. I was, and still am, a huge Patti LaBelle fan. Listened to her music all the time growing up. And when she was at, I'll be dating myself, Ontario Place, when it used to rotate. Yeah. I was able to get to her backstage where her limo was picking her up. And I handed her my demo there, and I saw the nails come out of the car window. And she said, "Okay, baby, I'll listen to it." I was like, "Thank you." I think it was like 11 or 12 at the time, or 10, somewhere around there. So that was a cool moment. So then to come full circle and be on stage, and I hear her go, "Come on, Simone." I was like, I don't get starstruck, but if I was, that was the moment. And then Jocelyn Brown, too, used to go to RPM to club. First time I went there, this huge unicorn hanging from the ceiling. And the very first track that I heard was Somebody Else's Guy by Jocelyn Brown. And that's a song I've always loved because her voice is a wall of sound. She's incredible. So to be on stage with both of those incredible idols was like, am I dreaming? How did I get here?
It's amazing.
It was cool. Yeah, it was very cool.
It just goes to show sometimes what you put out into the universe, put out in the universe and the universe provides. So Amy saying hello. I don't know why she's not on camera. She should come on and join us on camera for a little bit.
Hi, Amy.
Give her the link there to join us. So I couldn't have done this without Amy. So
Amy's awesome.
When Amy said you guys were so close, I said, I'm going to take a big swing here, Amy, and would you ask her to come on my podcast? And she said, yes. And I was like freaking out, and I'm still freaking out. It's okay.
Amy's awesome.
I'm starstruck, Simone. I'm really starstruck.
Oh, please don't be. I'm so normal. I'm so normal.
Well, I did my research ahead of time because, of course, I knew your voice. I knew your songs. I know, just a big fan of all of that. And I wanted to talk to you about your TED Talk. So I watched your TED Talk.
Okay.
And you originally said in your TED Talk that music wasn't really your passion initially, which is hard to believe with that voice of yours. Like, how could that be your
passion? No, it wasn't. I mean, culturally, families from Guyana, so a lot of Caribbean influence. Played a lot of soca and reggae, and then my mom grew up in England, so a lot of Shirley Bassey, the Beatles, a lot of that, and Catholic girl too. So it's like, it's all folk music, right? So, my parents were like, okay, well, music's part of the culture, but don't expect me to be a singer. So I always say music found me, and it was at a talent show that I wanted to do something for School Spirit, and then I got a standing ovation, and I was only child at the time. I loved the attention, and that was it. That was it. Yeah.
Had you taken classes before, or were you just born with this?
No, I was taking guitar lessons at the time, which is how my mom kind of found me singing in the living room with a cousin. And she thought it was my cousin singing. And she's like, oh, you sound wonderful. And I was like, that's not her, it's me. And she said, well, why don't you do that for the talent show? And I did the most Canadian song ever, which is Anne Marie's You Needed Me. I cannot get more Canadian than that. Yeah, and I got a standing ovation, and that literally was it.
And so you never had, and so just the voice just came out of
nowhere.
It was just, amazing.
Yeah.
So, how did you get started in your career? So you sang, you got the standing ovation, and then you said, I think this music thing might just be for me.
You know what? I think what I did was I was drawn to the energy. I was drawn to the attention. And so every year I would go back and do another song. I did, I think, 2 more talent shows or 1 more talent show, and I got the same reaction. And then I went off to high school, and I just did anything I could do to be in front of an audience, whether it was, I'd like to put fashion shows together. So I was doing that. I was creating the another talent show at school and high school. I was also vice president of my student council, so I had to represent the school in different forums and things and go and speak. And so I enjoyed being in front of audience, and that was really it. It wasn't until after high school that I went on to Humber College and studied music for 6 months, so it was just literally anything I could do to be in front of an audience and get that feeling that I enjoyed.
Because that's one of most people's biggest fear is to go in front of an audience. And it sounds like you were always you were comfortable with that.
I was. I have both of my parents were community organizers. And so I would always see them speaking at events, giving speeches, talking to people. My parents were very social. And so being around people was never a point of fear for me. It was very much part of my upbringing and who I was. So I was very comfortable. I was never, ever shy to sing or be in front of people or talk to people. Even now, I always say I can pretty much have a conversation with anyone.
Because it is, the reason why I started this whole little chat show podcast thing was I write LinkedIn profiles for a lot of different people, and they're terrified of putting themselves out there, even from written, even when they're not on camera.
Yeah.
Standing in their value and telling their story.
Yeah.
It makes people feel very, very uncomfortable about showcasing themselves. And here we are in 2021, and now it's like everybody's a brand. Everybody has to put themselves out there. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you, because I've got a few, with your TED Talk, I have it all written out here.
Oh, do you?
Some of the speech in of what you said. And so I think, and Superstar is as they said, such an anthem of empowerment. Mm-hmm. And so the one thing that you said in your TED Talk too was the power of no.
Yes.
Right. And so, which is most people's they're not comfortable with that word. And so you've had to face no a lot in your career. And so how do you deal with that? How do you deal with no?
I think any artist will agree with me. It's something that we get told no every single day. Literally in the business that they're in. If you're in entertainment, you get told every single day. Yeah. No, we can't do that. No, that's not possible. No, we can't make that budget. No, I can't. And you got to get really creative, and you have to believe in who you are and what you have, what you bring to the table. You know, I think that's the case for me. And I think that's the case for many of us in the industry. It's like we know our value, we have our dream, and we know what we want to do and what we want to achieve, and we just go for it. You know, as I said in the TED Talk, it's either, if I see it as a wall, either I'm going to go around it, under it, over it, or through it, but I will attain what it is I want to in some way, shape, or form. You just got to regroup sometimes and go, okay, maybe I can't come from it from this point. Maybe I'll go this way, or I'll talk to this person, or how can we morph this into what we want it to be? It's really important, I think, for many people to see it that way, to not give up on your dream and to just keep moving forward.
Yeah, and I think that is really tough because many people will, because of our lovely amygdala in our brain, that pre-lizard, you know, the lizard that's running around in our brain that's saying, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough. And so artists often, like yourself, artists will often be faced with, no, we don't like this, or no, can you change this? And I guess it must take a lot of courage to stand up to no and say, actually, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to make this happen.
And it may not happen today. It may not happen next week. It could happen a year or two from now. Sometimes you have to work a little bit harder, make the connections that you have to make, but you still, you know, it's on your dream board, you know, on your vision board. And you're like, I'm going to make this. And sometimes things happen that you're like, oh my gosh, that's been on my vision board. I didn't even try to make that happen, and it dropped in my lap. You know what I mean? It's an energy that you continuously put out there for yourself and for others around you.
And also, I think in your TED Talk, you also said it's often never about you. It's really about them, like the story that's in their head. And so oftentimes when someone says no, or someone seemingly rejects, it's like, oh, I'm not enough. At the same time, what you say is, you are enough.
I am enough, or you are enough. And that person is projecting their fears on you. It's like, well, I couldn't get that. Well, you're crazy. If I can't get it, there's no way you can do it. And you're like, well, yes, I can, and I will. You know, so that's all I can say. You know, you just gotta know, like you know that it's going to happen, and actively pursue it.
Yeah, 100%. So the Superstar, your Superstar song, first of all, what was that like the first time you heard that song on the radio? Or like,
wow. You know, it was really kind of, I don't have a distinct memory of hearing it on the radio. I think it was just as we went along on tour. I think what stuck with me more was the reaction of people to it as it became bigger and bigger. I actually found an early performance of Superstar on YouTube, and I was like, oh my God, I remember that show. And I think those are the things that come to me, where it's like, okay, first people are like, you know, into it, it's a new song, but as it started to gather momentum, the colossalness of it, if that's the right word, just really started to hit home. You know, it was just, this is huge. Like I don't think Brad and I, who had joined with Chris, that we had any concept of how big this was going to become. You know, we really didn't. And so when it blew up like that, it was like, okay, you know.
Yeah. And so so it was Broken Bones was first, though, and then Superstar?
Yes. Broken Bones was the first one. Yeah.
And Broken Bones was wildly successful as well. So just hearing yourself on the radio, like, do you still sometimes, if you're driving along and your song comes on, is it a little surreal, or is it sort of like
it is. I like to be like, I think my favorite moments to hear those songs is like, there's one time I remember I was in a gym and I was working out and I was on the veranda on a bike, like just cycling, and down below was the class. All right. What was it? Low impact cardio or something like that. And there was a guy dancing like no one was watching. You know what I mean? And he was singing every word, and he had no idea that I was right above him watching him. Those are the things that bring me joy, is to see that this song means something to people, and it continues to bring them strength, happiness, joy, fulfillment, you know, because the one thing about Superstar are the stories. It never ends for me. No matter where I go, someone has a story about how that song impacted their life in some positive way. And for me, that's a very beautiful thing.
Do you ever get tired of singing it?
No. Actually, it's one of the songs I don't, and I only sing it really for the fans. I really only sing these songs for the fans. I had gotten to a point, for many reasons, why I was just ready to move on and do other things. But every time I try to pull away, it pulls me back in. And it's really the fans that, it's beautiful. The energy that this song makes is really beautiful. It's a beautiful legacy that I think has been left in this world for people. And I know places like Glasgow and Scotland and Northern Ireland and Manchester and all across Europe, people continue to listen to it, and it will go on for generations to come. And that makes me happy.
Yeah, I'm sure it must be kind of wild when you're in like some place, and let's just say, as you said with the gym, and it comes on, and you don't expect it to come on, and then people just go wild. It just must be kind of like, oh, it's really kind of neat. I
love being in a room when nobody knows I'm there and seeing them singing it, dancing to it. I love that. I love that. And then somebody would be like, and Simone Denny's in the house from Lubbock, and I'm just like, oh, don't ruin it. Just let them dance. You know what I mean? Like, they don't need to know I'm here. I enjoy being invisible and them not knowing, and I love to see the joy.
Oh, really? So does it, I'm sure at one point you became so you couldn't, people would probably approach you all the time. Did it get uncomfortable at any point where you're sort of like,
okay. Yeah, it does. It used to. It was really really intense at one point. I couldn't go anywhere. I used to try to go to the mall just to buy face wash, and I try to sneak in there just as they were about to close, because then most of the people would be out of the mall. And it's funny because my family was like, oh, come on, it's not that bad. And I'm like, you guys really don't understand. I cannot go to the mall. And so I took my mom one time, and within 2 minutes of me standing in, I think it was Body Shop, a crowd had gathered outside, and I tapped her and I was like, look. And she was like, oh my God. I said, this is why I can't go to the mall, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not about that. I'm really just about the music. It's not about fame. For me, it's about literally the energy exchange. As I've said this many times, the energy exchange between me and my audience, the beauty and the footprint that it leaves on the world. And I mean, that sounds so hokey, but it's so true for me.
I don't think it sounds hokey at all.
Okay.
And that song, as I said, like that song just radiates love in so many different ways. And I'm sure it's pulled people out of some really tough times too. Like for me, it's always the happy song that when it comes on, everybody's like, woo, like we're going to have a good time.
Yes.
And I'm sure that there's been times when people have been really low, and that song will come on and really just help to go, you know what, life is good. And I am a superstar, and I own my value, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I guess that my next question was going to be, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about who you are and what you do? And maybe they think that you want to be approached.
I've had some odd approaches. I think the weirdest one for me was a person, I can't remember if I was on Facebook or Instagram, but they sent me a picture of my foot. I was downtown at the Eaton Center. And whoever it was in such close proximity to me that they took a picture of my foot as I was standing with my family talking, because we had just gone, I think, to Nathan Phillips Square or something to see the Pan Am Games performances and things like that. And they messaged me and they're like, hi, I just wanted to say hi. And then they sent me a picture of my foot. And I was like, well, I don't even remember you being that close to me, but why didn't you just say hi?
Yeah. And why?
They was like, oh, I just couldn't. I was too nervous. And I'm like, I don't think I give off, diva in any way. I'm just like, come and say hi. It's no problem for me at all. I would much prefer that than a picture of my foot.
It's a little weird. It's a little creepy.
It was a little weird. Strange. It was a little strange, but you know what? I'm glad that they messaged me and were able to say, hi anyway. But I'm like, next time you see me, just say hi.
Well, I can imagine how people are terrified of coming up to you, because I think in some ways, was it in Canada that this happened? Yeah, you said it was in Canada.
Eaton Center.
Like so many Canadians, I think we're so bashful about interrupting. It's all about maybe not interrupting you or not. I don't know. I don't know why.
I don't know. I said, I don't mind people saying hello at all. I really don't. I prefer it. I love to hear what they have to say. If you see I'm eating dinner, you don't want to interrupt me, that's fine. But before I leave, just be like, hi, I just want to say hello. I love meeting people. I love it.
Aw, that's so good.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm nervous every time I sort of see a celebrity. I was like, I want to make eye contact with them. I want to say hi, but I don't want to interrupt them and like crowd their space. So that maybe gives me a little bit more.
I get it. I get it. I think if you're respectful of the person, where they're at, what they're doing or whatnot.
Right.
you know, just be like, hi, or just wave and say hi, and I'll be like, hi, you know, why not?
That must be weird. I mean, I've even seen sort of local, like, you know, just the city TV people on the street, and
Yeah.
people, they know you. You have no idea who they are, but they
True.
approach you as if they do know you, and it's kind of, it's a little, like, probably a little strange, but I guess you get used to it.
Yeah, I like it.
So Amy's made a comment here, and I should actually address Steve Jones's comment afterwards.
Okay.
Amy's saying, wasn't Superstar played nightly last year for the frontline workers in Australia? And like when they
it was all over the UK actually, and Australia as well. I think I burst into tears when they contacted me to tell me that that's what it was being used for, and I felt very honored, you know, on behalf of the group. It was very humbling, very moving that the DJs came together and chose that song, you know, for like a good few weeks, you know, to keep playing it, to inspire the frontline workers. I mean, going through the pandemic was scary.
Yeah.
You know, that was a really scary time for them, especially being in the front lines. Nobody really knew what this virus was, how we were contracting it, and then to see the fatalities that were happening, and just using the song to keep them going. That is something I will cherish. And I know the songwriter as well cherished it as well. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm just going to read Steve Jones's comment here. Constantly hearing no either crushes people completely or becomes a wall to overcome. It is seen as a challenge. I think hearing it also gives us the freedom to start using the word no ourselves. Thank you, Steve, for that. Because the word no in my vocabulary is not something that I like to say very often. And sometimes I don't put those boundaries too. And also recognizing, like to your point, that sometimes those no's are not, they're maybe not right now.
Definitely. The no's, as I said in my TED Talk, it literally kind of guided me in the correct direction. You know, and it was like, well, that you think you're going in that direction, but guess what? There's a whole other line of blessings over here for you here, and you're not seeing it. And I think that's another thing I've learned from life, is to always remain open, you know, open to the blessings that come. Because again, sometimes you're thinking you're going in one direction, the no's, or life steers you in another. And some people do this, and they put the blinders on to it, because it's like, no, I want that. And I'm like, guess what? The universe, energy, God, whatever you believe in, is steering you in this direction. Open your eyes and see it for what it is. You know, make lemonade it. You know, make it work. You know, open it and see it. And that's always been something that I've taken to that approach to most things in my life. Be open. Really important to be open.
Yeah, and I just found that sometimes those no's that happen, this has happened throughout my career as well. Sometimes when I get a no or a door closes, it's amazing how another door opens.
Yeah.
Because it sort of just, like, the world works, there's the saying, like, it doesn't work in a vacuum or something. Like, if I had been accepted in one specific situation, if there had been acceptance in that, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do something else. And to your point, so it just pivoted, and then it's like, how did that happen? This is fantastic. So
that's right.
So it is looking for things in all of it, and to pick yourself up. And this is, I mean, it's just a pure point here that I've asked you to. You said yes to come on the podcast, and I said to Amy, I'm like, I'm taking a big swing here. I'm taking a big swing. She could say no, but I'm glad you said yes.
Amy will tell you, I definitely don't walk around like I'm like Queen Diva. I'm just, you know, I'm happy for every opportunity, and like I said, I love to meet people, and this is no different. So it's no problem at all.
Oh, I'm so excited. So the other thing that you talked about in your TED Talk as well is about empowering women with their women and body confidence as well, which I was like, oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. So tell everybody a little bit about that.
Well, I was always the chubby girl, always fat, chubby, whatever you want to call, whatever works for you. But I was always told I was beautiful. I never doubted any. Oh, thank you. I mean, as a child growing up, I had never really received any negativity. So I never really had any lack of self-confidence in that area. It was just other people who I guess felt the pressures from society. It's like, oh, you should be smaller, oh, you should be this. And, you know, it starts to wear at you. And I'd see girls starving themselves to be this person. I'm all for health, but beauty comes in many sizes and ages. You know what I mean? Hair textures, colors. And to close yourself off and only think that beauty comes in one size or in one body frame, I think you miss out on a lot. I think society keeps pressuring men into this ideal of what a beautiful woman is, and they're missing out. You know, some men like many different things. They don't like just one body type. They're like, and I just feel like the fashion industry or magazines or society in general just keeps pressuring that, because I know girls that are plus size and that are healthier, far healthier and more active than other people who may be smaller in size, and vice versa. You know, so I say for people, health first, and feel beautiful where you are. And this goes for men too. Feel handsome and strong, and own where you are. And if you want to change it, work at it, but don't put yourself down.
Oh yeah.
Don't put yourself down. Life is way too short to live that way. That only leads to more unhealthy habits. It leads to more sadness. And life is for living. We are truly blessed to be here. I don't think any of us are here by accident. There's a reason that you and I are talking and connecting at this moment. It's beyond maybe our understanding, but you don't know who's admiring you from afar. And I think that's what's important. Is I remember being at the Much Music Awards. I think it was the last one we had won, and Aqua was on stage with us and whatnot. And this girl came out of nowhere and tapped me on the shoulder, and she said, "I just want to thank you for repping for the plus size girl," because I was very plus size at that time. And she's like, "I just want to thank you for repping the plus girls." And I was like, she said, "You make us look good." And I was like, "Thank you." Like, I wasn't even thinking about, again, somebody was watching me from afar, you know, and saying thank you. And the fact that I don't know who she is, I don't know where she went. I always say in an interview, if she's out there, please say hi and come up, you know, and message me, because that is something that stayed with me, you know. And I think that's why I carry that forth. I've been involved with body positivity. I've modeled at fashion shows. I'm smaller now, but I still very much I'm an advocate for positive thinking, body positivity, all of it. Life is too precious to waste.
No doubt. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so did that come, were you sort of just born with this, like, just great confidence, or did it help that your parents, like your surroundings, it's always,
I think there's a little bit of everything. Like I said, I love to meet people. I love to be around people. I like to interact and feel the energy. The positivity, I think, coming from the Caribbean. If you want to see body positivity, go to a SOCA Fete, because you will see beautiful women of every size, age, color. I've taken a few friends to them, and they're like, "This is awesome." And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, all stereotypes are broken, and women are stunning, like absolutely stunning. And I want to see that spill over into our culture. And it has. I mean, we have so many beautiful advocates like Sarah Taylor, you know, who I don't know, I think she's got sarahtaylorfitness.com. She's a plus size trainer. Amazing woman, you know, Sexy Plus, who I've modeled for. And it's such a joy to be around those women. They are so incredibly positive. You know, Katarina Moda, they're all three women, just incredible women. And they keep me motivated. There's a whole culture here in Canada of women that do it. And truly motivating and truly inspirational.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I'd love to see that brands are now starting to adopt this as well.
Yeah.
That, you know, Dove campaigns and
Yes.
these other brands that are getting it, that everybody, you know, people come in different shapes and sizes. And
Yeah.
to the point, like, just own your value, stand in,
Own it.
Own it.
Your beauty. Own your beauty. Own it. Own it. No one is going to come to you and give you that. And if you keep waiting on society for that, you'll be waiting forever.
Yeah.
You will literally be waiting forever for that, you know, green light to feel beautiful, to own who you are. Please, life, like I said, life's too short. Way too short for that.
Too, Simone, the more that and it's something that I'm, you know, imposter syndrome is rampant with so many people, including this girl right here. The more that I stand in my value, the more that I recognize that some of the things that I do actually do bring value, the more the more money I make, quite frankly, and the more
That's
opportunities
never a problem.
come. Right? The more opportunities come when you're like, you know what, I am actually good at what I do.
Yeah.
And
Because I think it's an energy you're putting out. You're putting out that positive energy, and that's what's coming back to you.
mm-hmm.
You know, people like success. People like happy people. People like, you know what I mean? They like to be around people that make them feel good. So why not?
Yeah, and confidence is everything. In fact, I remember this one time I used to work at Wedding Bells magazine in my former life, and and I remember I was working as an admin, I guess it was admin professional, I guess. And so there was a gal that came into the office. She wasn't that much older than I was, but she came in as a consultant, and she was getting paid a lot of money to come in and consult. I know her now, how many years later, and I said, how did you do it? Like, how did I felt like this little small person, and you came in at this big price, and she's like, I didn't know I couldn't. And I was like, what?
Look how huge, what a huge statement.
Yeah, I didn't know that I couldn't. And I was like, well, I think we all need, where's the pill for that one? Because It's
your attitude. It's your attitude of the energy. She's never been like, oh, I can't. Right. Why adopt that mentality? Find a way. Like I said, it may not happen overnight. You might have to do whatever you need to do in terms of brushing up skills or connecting with whoever it is to make that dream possible.
Yeah.
Why give up?
And I think what, there was I think it was Amy Cuddy has a book out there about power poses and things like that. I think that people could listen to I'm a Superstar over and over again and just feel it and just own it and have it as a mantra, like a something to say over and over, because all things keep getting better.
Absolutely. Well, that it's funny that you say mantras, because I'm a strong believer in that, and that is exactly what I've heard from people about Superstar. Over the years, I was getting a divorce, and I was so low, and I didn't know how to stand tall. And I played You're a Superstar, and I got through it. I was going for an exam or a job, the stories are literally endless on that song, and it's just very cool that people have adopted it in some way, shape, or form as a mantra in their lives.
Yeah, and to own it, and to own that you are a superstar.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it.
Absolutely.
So I know we don't have the full hour today because because you've got a podcast that you're doing now.
I do.
I don't want to keep you too much longer. But what's next for Simone Denny? What's other than your podcast, which you have to tell people to follow you on Instagram?
Oh yeah. Well, follow me on Instagram. I'm Simone Denny Music. Every Wednesday, I do a podcast with Sean Prue, who's from SiriusXM Channel 167, and he and I come together to do a show called The Take. I also do one called Simone Denny Live, where it's more music-based. But I'm actually wrapping that up for the season because I'm headed out back on the road in a couple of weeks to the UK. Fingers crossed that it doesn't get canceled, to do some touring there. So that's what's next. New music, working on that. All of it, just kind of getting back to life and doing what I love to do.
Yeah, it sounds exciting. So what is, do we have I'm going to definitely put it in the comments, but your Instagram is Simone Denny Music, right?
Yes.
At Simone Denny Music.
Yes, right? At Simone Denny Music, Facebook, Simone Denny, Twitter, Simone Denny as well. Awesome. Just look for the lips and the curly hair. You can't miss me. You'll be like, oh, there she is.
I love it. This is amazing. Thank you so much, Simone, for taking the time to chat with you today. And I didn't want to keep you too long, but
we're good.
Again, just that mantra of like being a superstar and all that stuff. It's just, it's such a big part of my life. I know that, I couldn't have gone through my, I think it was my years in university or whatever when that song came on. It's funny how those things, they say that music is the soundtrack of your life.
Yeah.
I think it was, I remember who said that. And I remember that song coming on and certain friends that would just be like, woo, that's my song, girl. Yeah. And they incite those same girlfriends in my brain. That's what I think of when I think of your song. So
I love it.
So I'm so glad you put it out there into the world. I'm so glad we have your voice. And
thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me. This has been a pleasure. It's lovely to meet you.
It's lovely to meet you too. And I wish Amy had popped on here to say hi. I don't know if she's still
there somewhere. I don't know why she's not coming on to say hi. Amy, if you're there, come on.
She'll like,
Probably
oh,
leaving,
she might
probably
not.
leaving messages.
Probably. She'll bug me later about it.
Okay, no worries. No
Okay,
worries.
thanks again, Simone, and we'll
Thank
talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Thanks for
Bye,
coming on.
everybody.
Bye.